Hey guys, welcome back. It's Andrea, the South African girl living in Canada. So welcome to episode 2 with Dr. Daniela Steyn. It is so good to be here in her home in Oakville, and it's always great to spend time with her because I get tea and water and I'm treated like a queen. It's so wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for being here, Andrea.
Awesome. Fantastic. So today I thought it would be a great question to cover because people ask this on so many forums, on the Facebook groups and wherever you are, is navigating finding a doctor in Canada. It is always a special thing to know your doctor for many, many years. So you've been living in your country, it could be South Africa, it could be anywhere, wherever you're coming from. And it gives you great peace of mind to know that somebody who's known you for 10 years, they know all your issues. Now you move to a new country and I'm sure you've heard of this thing, well, I'm not taking new patients is what you find. So you've got to try and navigate and find your way. Can you give us some tips on this? What are your thoughts?
So I understand where you're coming from. I'm South African, and as a doctor I came here, but I also worked in different areas. And the system, there isn't one answer, because depending on where you live, the answer is different. The way it looks in Oakville is completely different from rural Alberta, where I worked. It's also different from Vancouver, where I worked as well, or from rural Ontario. So key is when you come here is to make sure that you make friends with your neighbors, with the kids at school, with their parents, and chat to them. Ask them, which doctor do you go to? Which doctor do you like? So that is really that recommendation, and that will help you. The people at work, ask them, who's their doctor? Talk to people about that.
Yeah.
And that's the key to really, because it does look different everywhere. That's the first thing. But then second thing, you have to advocate for yourself. Our system is not such that you can sit at home and someone is going to come and look out for you. You have to advocate for yourself. If you go to the first clinic and you find that you're not comfortable with this doctor, then keep looking. Yeah. So the thing you mentioned about doctors not accepting patients, specifically in Ontario and specifically in a city, big busy city the way we live, is doctors don't want to take on just more and more patients, because there's no way you can be a good doctor for 10,000 patients.
Understandable.
So they would cap their roster at a certain point saying, I can be a great doctor for 6,000 people and that's where I'm stopping.
Yeah.
So, but then to find someone, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have a doctor when you get here. There's always walk-in clinics. If you need a prescription right away, you can go to any walk-in clinic. You can get that prescription if you're willing to wait a little bit. And then also when you do go to a doctor, we have that first visit, which we call as a meet and greet appointment. And I used to, when I had a big family practice, have that with my patients. So for me to meet that patient, but then also for the patient to meet me and to see, you know, am I the person that they want to look after their health for the next 10 years? So and at a meet and greet, you can decide if you want to continue with this doctor or not. And if it's not a good fit, then keep looking and keep advocating for yourself. Don't settle when you're uncomfortable with what's happening.
Yeah.
Keep advocating for yourself.
I think that's really great advice. Episode 1, we touched a little bit about the trauma and just the stress around immigration, and we kind of touched on adrenal fatigue. I really want to get into that just a little bit today, but before we do that, I really want to let you guys know that Daniela and I actually did a Q&A session on her YouTube channel because so many people were emailing and sending stuff on Facebook about questions on specific health topics. So Daniela covers them on her YouTube channel. Please follow her. You'll see below her YouTube channel details and obviously also in the description. So follow her there. So let's get into adrenal fatigue.
Yes, that's a big one. That is such a common one that people come to us after immigration, but not just immigration. Throughout this pandemic, I've had so many people with burnout. And they come to me not necessarily recognizing that they have burnout. They just know something is off. Please check my hormones, I'm getting migraines, I'm not sleeping well, I'm getting sick, something is off. And then quite often when what burnout essentially is when your body is stressed all the time. Adrenal fatigue and burnout ties together very closely with that. Is your adrenals are these glands on top of your kidneys that secrete your stress hormones. When it's been secreting for a long period of time, they get fatigued. They don't have adrenaline to secrete anymore. They don't have cortisol to secrete anymore. And at that point, it has effects on your body. Your metabolism slows down. You become ill more easily. You don't sleep as well. You don't get a good quality sleep. And that is when that is when any stressor that you go through, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's immigrating, and I know a lot of our viewers had both. You had the stress of immigration during a pandemic. That is
crazy.
So hard.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's so important to recognize that and to be gentle to yourself, to your body. Not to think you have to power through, because you're going to power through to a point, but then your body can't.
Yeah.
And your body is going to say no at a certain point. So before your body says no, recognize it and take specific steps with better nutrition. Make sure everything that you put into your body really nourishes your body and don't break your body down.
Yeah.
Make sure that you rest properly. Make sure that you get breaks. Make sure that you're gentle and kind on yourself to heal.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking on the Q&A session. I remember we were covering topics like what supplements you can take. That was pretty cool.
That's a big one. So I used to believe when I had my training that they told us 20 years ago, taking vitamins is just making your urine more expensive.
Yes, I used to remember. Yeah, you see this yellow wee. I know.
But in the hospital where I work now, I test all my patients when they come in for everything. I test them for vitamin D, vitamin B, magnesium, calcium, potassium. I test all these things. And then people who eat a healthy diet, who maybe are eating an organic, very good diet, are deficient in a lot of essential vitamins that you need to help to prevent illness, to help your adrenals not to become fatigued. So, and that's where we really got to the leaky gut, where we realized that a lot of people don't absorb vitamins as well. Iron is a big one. A lot of women would have iron deficiency anemia, because every time when you have your cycle, you'll lose blood, your body has to make more blood. But then even when they take a supplement, the iron stores doesn't go up. And then we saw, okay, some people are not absorbing as well. So that on its own is a big spectrum.
Yes.
So yes, most important is your diet. Before you go to supplements, you have to eat properly.
Yeah.
If you're living on takeout and you're living on craft pasta dinners, you won't do good. Your body is not going to go.
No, and just on that point, I mean, I remember when we moved, especially because it's North America, if you're coming from a country where generally fast food in a lot of countries isn't as big as it is here. So when we got here, I was like, have you checked out Wendy's? And I mean, like, oh my word, if you're doing, like, I think you're just taking on all these cool new places. So it's like Tim Hortons, and it's Wendy's, or Pizza, and then there's Pizza Nova. Guys, I could go on, right? The list, and the kids, that's all they want. And then you're tired, you're fatigued, generally just from immigration and stress and jet lag and everything. You're so hungry, you just end up eating the same stuff as well. And it's terrible.
Yes, and especially if you have to run after kids, to cook takes a lot of time. We don't have a Woolies. There is no place to go and buy veggies that you can just put in the oven. And these types of products are way more expensive.
Yes.
So if you now come and you're paying in South African rands, and in South Africa, vegetables are subsidized, so it's less expensive to eat healthy. Here, veggies are not subsidized, so it's very expensive to eat healthy. Yeah. It's much less expensive to buy processed foods. And with processed, it means anything that's made in a factory, like a pasta sauce, frozen dinners. But your body won't do as good as that your body would do if you eat fresh things. Yeah. Anything that you see on a farm is the way you want to eat, fresh veggies. Supplements.
Yes.
I'm derailing.
Okay, yes,
so true. First you want to eat very healthy. But then on top of that, often our bodies need, I see it, that people do need supplements, and there are common ones. Okay. The most common ones are magnesium deficiency or vitamin D deficiency. So those are two that I would definitely recommend to start off with. And then depending on what you experience, you might look at other supplements as well. But to start for everyone, your kids, a vitamin D supplement, 1,000 units. I have a whole blog on my website on vitamin D, how much foods, if you really don't want to take supplements, which foods are high in vitamin D, especially salmon. That's what I love about Canada, is our salmon.
I know, it's fantastic. But that thing with vitamin D is so important. On the Q&A, Daniela and I talk about vitamin D quite a bit, also because it impacted my life seriously. Like, I am high energy, positive, blah, blah, blah. And I was just starting to feel a little bit like I'm not feeling so good. I'm feeling a little bit depressed, and it's still snowing. So I checked my vitamin D twice, and it's always below average. But I wasn't taking enough international units. So it's 1,000 international units for kids daily, and 2,000 for adults is what you said. And I was taking 1,000, and And I just don't get in the sun as much as I used to in South Africa, even in summer, actually. So it is super, super important, guys. When you get to Canada, you need to be taking vitamin D.
And even when we get into the sun, we just lather up on sunscreen and we have our hats, which is important because we don't want wrinkles, we don't want skin cancer. So it is important.
For sure, yes.
For our kids, it is important, but then we have to supplement with vitamin D or just make sure we eat salmon 3 times a week.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I love it so much. Okay, so how do we prevent... So we've spoken about adrenal fatigue. How do we prevent the adrenal fatigue?
That's a very important one. First is to eat properly. That makes a difference.
Yeah.
To be gentle on yourself, to be aware when stress is becoming harmful, to avoid things that add stress to your body. So if you already have these stressors of immigrating, don't add stress by watching the news. Don't add stress by watching binge watching Netflix series that is hard for your body, where you can feel that your body is tense, that you can feel your neck is tense. Avoid those things and implement things to help you relax. Go for walks outside. Talk to people. It is very therapeutic for us to talk about what we're having, what is hard for us. Ignoring it, just putting a lid on it is not helpful. So to seek out a counselor, to seek out your doctor, a psychologist, to talk through it, to find a friend, to find help for yourself. If you have a hard time talking to other people, to journal, to write, this was hard today, but this is what I enjoyed. And then to find those positive things and to shift your focus onto the things that you enjoyed.
Love that so much. And I think it's actually quite cool because I had a journal when I was busy packing my house up in South Africa, and then when I landed and all the funny things that I found, like driving on the wrong side, right side of the road, whatever, and all these cool experiences when you get to Canada or your new country. And looking back, I was like, oh my word, look how far we've come. And I think that is the point. And I think journaling sometimes also in stress, I don't know if you find this, it's like sometimes I can't even pray because my mind, and I can't formulate stuff, but if I write it down, I kind of can look at it in a nicely set out way, and then I can go back to it. And I think that's really key about journaling, is that sometimes we're so messed up inside, we've got 50,000 thoughts going around in our brain, but by journaling it, you kind of get it down there.
And it helps you to fall asleep. So there's a lot of science behind that. When people tell me, when they come to me and say they can't sleep, and I have everything. I have a podcast on that, on sleep, a YouTube video, there's a blog on my website.
Brilliant.
But people find when those thoughts that's running in your mind, if you just write it down, then your body is, okay, I dealt with it. So even though you don't have the solution to your problem yet, your brain just know that you're not going to forget. It doesn't have to keep running.
Yes.
I dealt with it, and then you can fall asleep. If you wake up 3 o'clock in the morning, you can literally just write down what you're thinking about, and then your brain knows it's there. Then you can fall asleep.
Oh, I love it. That's fantastic. So I think we've covered a lot today. I think that's going to be super useful. Thank you so much.
Something that I want to mention. Yes. Your first question started how to find a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big thing. I'm a family physician. So, and what I found that in Canada, it is quite different from other countries. I often have people from different countries who come to me and say, okay, so I want a dermatologist, a gynecologist. And so they have these lists. And in Canada, it works a little bit different. Your gynecologist is not the person who's going to be doing your pap smears. It's going to be your family physician. Your dermatologist is not the one who's going to check every month if one of your moles look harmful. It's going to be your family physician. And your family physician will also do a biopsy. And then once it is cancerous, the biopsy comes back showing, yes, it is cancer. At that point, they'll refer you to a dermatologist. And then your dermatologist will see you quickly. Because quite a big concern that I have from people is that, oh, I've been referred to a dermatologist and I waited 2 years. And that might be true if you have problematic skin. But, and we should talk about that in our next video.
Yes, I think it's a great topic. I hear you.
Yes, we've had a lot of our viewers with questions regarding skin. But that is a problem. If you start, because you're stressed, you immigrated, you're now eating all this junk food and bagels and donuts and things that you're not using to, and you're breaking out. And then you go to your doctor and you say, I want to see a dermatologist. And they say, oh, you can wait. And then you hear the wait is 2 years.
Yeah.
That is devastating to people.
Yeah.
However, the good news is if your doctor did diagnose a cancer, you'll be seen by the dermatologist
Perfect.
right away. You'll get prioritized.
Yeah.
And same thing, your doctor might be doing your pap smear, but if there is something abnormal, you'll get prioritized and be seen at the gynecologist quickly.
That is great
But
advice.
to be aware, yes, that
Yeah.
it's for the majority of things, your family physician is going to be managing. And even when you do go and see your cardiologist, you'll see the cardiologist once a year, and the cardiologist might tweak some of your heart medication, tweak some things, but then for the follow-up, the month to month, it's going to be your family physician. And that's a bit different from what we were used to in South Africa.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people struggle with that. But that's why it's so important to be chatting with your neighbors, with the friends, with your neighbor who lives next door and who's 80 years old and has 10 different specialists. He will tell you, but it's his doctor that he sees every week.
That's
and then
right.
that kidney specialist he sees once a year. And that cancer specialist he sees once a year, but it's his doctor that he's building that relationship with.
So true. So, and that's why, I mean, if you're going to take the time to find the right person, because you're going to be with them for quite a while.
Yes.
Brilliant. Oh man, we covered everything. I think this is going to be super useful. It's been so great. Thank you so much. I look forward to episode 3, where we're going to be covering maybe a kind of new other topics. If you want to talk about more things and we can do more of this in the future, please send us messages, put your comments in there on my YouTube channel. It'll be so great. And then please don't forget to follow Daniela on her YouTube channel to look at all the other Q&As that she does as well. Daniela, thanks so much.
Thank you,
been
Andrea.
great.
Take care.
Awesome. Thanks. If you like what you saw, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, the little yellow bell on the side, because then you'll just get the updates all the time as they upload. Have an awesome day and watch out for episode 3.